In the great democratic country of the United States of America, U.S. citizens are given immense power when it comes to who is coupled up with in the newest season of Love Island with these 3 bombshells. This was our first chance to make a lasting impact. So the question is, did you use your right to vote? Let's go over week 2 in the villa so far. I am Charlize Martin, your Liberian American princess, and this is the LAP podcast. You know I gotta put on my Fenty. I gotta put on my Fenty. Come on. Stop playing with them, my boy. Yeah. I know you see it.
Go Liberia. I wanna go Liberia.
I try to be a little bit more scripted this time. I actually have notes. My first review, I didn't have like any notes to go off of. I was just going off the top of my brain, just going by islander by islander. Now there's too many of them in the villa, so we're gonna have to be a tad bit more organized, and I can't just go person by person or we'll be here for 8 hours. First topic of discussion, the voting app crashed. I know this happened for me, and I was able to vote, don't call me out on this, I voted at 3 a.m. in the morning. Wanted to vote so bad, I FaceTimed my boyfriend, I was like, you need to register to vote and vote for me. Didn't work out for him either. I was like, what's going on? Then I go online, this is happening to everyone, so I was like, okay, the app is actually crashing. I registered to vote last year, so I didn't think I needed to register again. Found out I did. And I couldn't even register. That's how bad the app was crashing. So like I kept on sending them my number. I was like, you know what? Let me stop trying. I think the app is crashed out. Or for me, let me stop, So yeah, that was like a whole mess. Now the app did kind of slow down after a while and I was able to get in, but I gave up for like several hours and I didn't go onto the app again until 3 a.m. and it still allowed me to vote. So I'll put the screenshot here. So it did allow me to vote and it said that my vote went through. I know it was 3 a.m. and the voting was supposed to be closed at 1, but I think because it crashed, they gave us more time. But yeah, I've already covered week 1 in the villa. So this time around, I'm doing like episodes 5, 6, and 7. So the last episodes since the last time I recapped with y'all. So I'm just going from Sunday to Wednesday really. And episode 5 opens with the aftermath right after the Give Me 10 moment, and Aniya and Melanie meet up for a chat to go over her feelings. And after Melanie talks to Aniya, she then talks to her couple partner, Sincere, and it's like, I need you to just be my friend in this moment. Ooh. I think that was like strike 1, honestly, for their relationship and how it fell so fast. Obviously, her reaction to just him pulling Kata for a simple chat, and then everything that conspired once Corbin came into the villa, I think kind of made Sincere suspicious on how Melanie was actually going to be able to behave in the villa, and her going to him to be a friend and then him later calling her out in that same episode being like, hey, like I'm your partner, so there's a built-in friendship there, like I'm always going to be here for you. But for her to almost be like, let's pretend like we're not romantically involved for a second. No, because I'll put it this way. Trinity and Bryce have a built-in friendship already that they don't need to say, we're being friends right now. You know what I mean? Like they're just friends with each other, like actual factual friends. Now Corbin in his fast trajectory to corny Corbin is so sad for me. Because it's like, it was so good. Everybody was obsessed with him until he opened his mouth. Like, everybody was like, oh my gosh, Corbin's gonna do this, Corbin's gonna be this. You check me out in the last review, I was talking about Corbin's about to be the next Miguel. I'm sorry to Miguel. I lied on his name. I didn't realize how bad Corbin was going to be within the first actual conversations he had in the villa. And the fact that this episode I watched with my boyfriend didn't notice this at first. He was like, my gosh, like he's a player. I'm like, you don't know that these girls talk to each other in the villa and he's about to be found out, and Kata's not that dumb, so it's just not gonna work out. So he goes from talking to Kenzie saying, I don't remember our kiss, was it good? I'm gonna need a little reminder, and they kiss, right? He tries to recycle those same lines to Kata in the very next chat. He thinks it's up for him because Kata pulled him for a chat, but it's like, what do you do once you're given the chance to speak to a girl? You recycle the same lines? Yeah, no, it's not going to work on Kata because the line was corny to begin with, but Kenzie is single and thirsty, and in her opinions, finer than Sean. So what's stopping her from going for you instead of Sean? You know what I mean? Especially when this is a safe space. We're all girls here. Well, girls, guys, theys, and thems. But like when you're attracted to someone and everybody else is attracted to that same person, that's going to make you even more attracted to them, because it's nice to know that like you're not the only one that sees fly shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, the recoupling happens. Corbin is given the first chance out of everybody in the villa, and he keeps that a secret. And I was shocked that he picked Kenzie, just because I really did think that he was going to pick Kata, just because Kata was playing harder to get, and he seemed to be really intrigued by that. But maybe he comes from the school of Chris and he don't like to try for girls. I don't know. So Corbin picks Kenzie. After that, all the girls are able to pick. Aniya picks KC. Melanie picks Sincere. Beatriz picks Gabrielle. Kata picks Zach. Is that everyone in the villa? No. Oh my gosh. Trinity picks Bryce. I was truly 50-50, but I do feel like it was going to be really hard for Sean to really be able to have a fighting chance with anybody else other than Kenzie, because he tried very too little too late, because he only pilled Trinity for a chat look on the last day when she has a more developed connection and friendship with Bryce. And even after the conversation, she says, even after the recoupling, she says, yeah, I'm attracted to Sean, but nobody makes me laugh like Bryce does. Like, meaningful conversations and connections being built has weight in the villa. Like, beyond just the first time you meet somebody, yeah, you can gain attraction, but after you talk, that's when it matters, Corbin. All right, so enough of that. Let's go into episode 6. Everybody pulls away and they're in like their separate chats going over what just happened in the recoupling. Everybody's kind of sad about Sean. Kenzie does reveal that she was going to pick Corbin anyways, and she does seem to be very happy in her new couple. She has a whole song about his big hands and everything. It's giving a little Goldilocks right now. It's like, oh, what big hands you have. It's getting a little weird. So Kata and Zach have a conversation about watermelon.
Watermelon. Carpuzi.
And I couldn't get over the fact that before that, homegirl dipped her apple in ketchup. Now, I know Haitians like tomatoes, and I know that they be putting ketchup on spaghetti and everything, but apples is a bit different. It feels a bit more like psychologically violent for me to see that. Anyways, homegirl walking around in that long bikini, and Zach had to adjust himself, child. Then we go into a different conversation where it's Kenzie, Trinity, and Melanie. I think that's the 3 that it was. But anyways, they start talking about like I know Corbin's here for you, but like, Kenzie, I'm ready to see you with a cowboy. She's like, I'm screaming without the S. It's like nice to see the friendship start developing, and including in the talk of friendship starting to develop. I am so happy that the conversation with Bia and Melanie happened as well as it did. I think that at times it can be like at two extremes of each other. Like, I feel like Bia comes from the school of girl boss and Melanie comes from the school of pick me sometimes. And I mean that in like the nicest way as possible. Like, Melanie can be very heavily traditional in her values, like how she's kind of just like, I will have as many babies as my husband wants. Like, she seems to be like taking on like that like traditional dutiful wife role. And even in the way that she talks up Beatrice is only like very male centered. It's very just like, it's so great that you do sports because guys want to do sports with girls and I can't do that. And it's so like, it was just only from the perspective of like how great sports are if you're trying to attract a man. And then Bia's coming from a very strong independent mindset where she's very driven and ambitious. And for some men, that can be kind of scary. And she's just like, hey, like, I do have a softer side, but I don't show that softness to everyone. Like, she does have a bit of a harder exterior. And I'm happy that they were able to have that type of conversation and be able to really build a true girlhood with each other. I even love how this scene was filmed. There was like a long pan on how they were holding each other's hands throughout the conversation, and the hug too as they pan out to commercials. I thought that was like a beautiful scene. Speaking of another pretty beautiful scene, this episode well, these next two episodes made me actually believe in the Trinity and Bryce relationship. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't seeing it before. I'm sorry for calling it another Shelly and Austin situation. I do feel like there is an actual genuine connection there. And I did kind of go on the deep end on TikTok and see that like Trinity was wearing like the triangle bikini that was like so big in 2016. And guess who also was big in 2016? Bryce on Tumblr. Like, they're so Tumblr coded. I didn't even realize that until like I went on the deep end. So now I'm buying into it. I already saw like the friendship developing. I can see that there's a lot of care for each other there. And then for her to actually sit there and be manicuring this man's nails so close to Juneteenth, I have mixed feelings about that, but I do see that there is a care and attention put into the relationship on both sides. And I thought it was really sweet. And they had that little moment where she was like, what's my favorite color? He was like, hot pink. She was like, wrong, bitch. I loved it. And then another couple that had a little chat was Aniya and Casey. Now, I don't know if this happened in episode 5 or episode 4, but before this conversation, Casey did have a moment where he was very blatant in his love for Black women, and people were saying that it was performative. How is it performative for a Californian Muslim who like wears common paraphernalia about like Black women outside of the villa to say on national television that like, yeah, I do love Black women? Like, I'm not shocked by that. I just think it's sad that like we hear somebody say great things about like Black women and our automatic thought as a society is he must be lying. But it's like, I was there for the time in Love Island USA when everything happened with Justine and her partner in the villa. So I'm not saying there's no reason or no case for that to not be a thing. But just because we have trauma from other situations, I don't think we should be putting that on Casey. Casey is still my favorite guy in the villa. Not only is he funny, but he shows a lot of care to Aniya, and I still am not sure if Kanaya is a really good ship name for them. I'm still not sure if KC is Aniya's first choice in the villa, because I still think that like Aniya likes to go for light skins, and she has yet to give any of that affirming that KC does for him in the villa back. Now, what I will say is Casey doesn't just stop at this one conversation, which I do feel like we weren't given full context for. Somebody else said it on TikTok that people are like, it feels like he just said that out of nowhere. But I really do feel like we're getting bits and pieces of Casey and Aniya's conversation, because I do think that Aniya was probably talking about like her experience as a Black woman, and then all we got was just Casey's reaction to what Aniya said. That's what I do think happened. Now, the conversation that happened in this video, in this episode 6, Casey, again, this is week 1 and he's already talking about like life outside the villa and possibly moving to Atlanta for her. So if we weren't taking him seriously before, I don't know why we're not taking him seriously now. Like, he's talking about how Aniya is so adventurous and she's had so many experiences and he is inspired by her. These are the type of things that like my boyfriend says about me, and he's been saying about me since we first got together, where he was just kind of like, you make me so driven. I'm so inspired by everything that you do. Like, you don't just say, I admire you, or I admire this person about anyone. You know, like, he genuinely feels that way about her. Now let's get into someone who is genuinely horny, Corbin. This is like day 2 in the villa, and he's already talking about his kinks with Kenzie. Weird. Like, so weird to me. And I really do feel like he spoke into being the next challenge, because he said, I want to be blindfolded with you. I want to get handcuffed in a bed, and I want us to try and find each other and just explore each other's bodies. Kenzie goes like, you can't make this up. Kenzie then says, it's time to get ready for the next challenge. Everybody is in all the white lingerie. The guys are in boxers, and they're on like the biggest white bed that you ever seen. I'm like, what in the like white Diddy party like after hours is going on right now, right? They're all jumping on the bed, dancing on each other. They're doing the montage, and Corbin is basically humping this girl on international television. I'm like, what am I watching right now? Now we get into the challenge. The men are handcuffed to the bed. The girls are blindfolded, and they have to they all have a paint color associated with them, and they have to find their man in the dark. This is Corbin's wet dream. It's actually insane to me. So the first to go up is Trinity. Trinity makes out with everybody, but then she gets to Bryce and she's like, do I have to keep going? And she's like, okay, I don't. Handcuffs herself to Bryce and goes on about her life. Melanie, on the other hand, is here to give us great television, and she's like, I'm gonna kiss everybody, including Trinity, and when I get to my man, I'm gonna keep going because I'm trying to kiss everybody in here. And even though I know it's my man, I'ma still keep going. Actually, I like these two kisses. Let's find out which one I like more. Okay, I'll stop. I'll just handcuff myself to Sincere. Cinema. On to the third girl to go. I don't remember who it was, cause Soul comes in. Soul is so gorgeous. It's giving Holly Berry. I'm obsessed with her, right? She comes in, she's kissing on all the men, while I think it was Beatrice or Kenzie, I can't remember, while the other girl is still trying to maneuver in the dark. It's insane. Okay, then as the situation is still continuing on, right, there's not just one bombshell, there's two. Now Jen comes in with her big old bitties, and she over there searching around. She can see everybody, so she kissing, making out with everybody, right? The last person to go was Aniya. She ain't get the memo. Now, Aniya didn't even need to kiss anybody to find her man. It's given wifey. She's not trying to get herself into any trouble with anyone. I do feel like Aniya's the only one on Friendship Island, though, because it's not like she's not attracted to all the other light skins in the villa. I don't know why she didn't kiss Sincere, because Melanie didn't hold back. She kissed Casey. She probably thought she was ping-ponging between Casey and Sincere, honestly. She didn't hold back, so I don't know why she's holding back on everybody else's man. I don't know if she's just trying to be cognizant of Casey's feelings, but I do feel like it's a little too early in the season to not say no to kissing people. But if that's just Aniya being true to her character and just being like, I don't feel the need to do all that. And also, she was the last one. Who wants to be the last one to kiss everyone after everybody's been kissing everybody? And the way how everybody's been talking about Trinity's Invisalign, not Trinity, Beatrice's Invisalign, I wouldn't want to be the last one to kiss either. Oh my God. So the girls get their blindfolds taken off, and Melanie's the first one to be like, what's the red? And the thing is, you can't be so mad over everybody having red when you were just doing everything that you were doing in this challenge, and you acted the way that you acted literally 2 days ago when Corbin came in. You can't do that, right? So right after the bombshells get revealed, Casey says, I'm way up, I feel blessed. I'm way up, I feel blessed. Casey. I swear, that girl will never know peace. Aniya's like, that wasn't funny. Before she can even say anything, Beatrice is like, wrong answer. But guess what? Ariana has a treat for the girls too. Mr. Cowboy, just like Kenzie ordered him up herself, comes into the villa from North Carolina. He works with his hands too. I'm like, it's just like Bryce Country Edition, but a bit more meaty. I think he's gonna fit very well into the villa. He's not scared to step on toes. He makes out with all of the girls while the men are handcuffed in the bed, handcuffed to them, and they all have to watch. Kata acts up. She's like, nah, make him watch, wraps her legs around him. I love Kata. I love me some. Kata was just messy as hell, but in a fun, flirty way. Again, Kata and Melody are giving me great TV. I can't complain about either of them, honestly. Now, speaking of me as a viewer and as the public, we have nothing to complain about. The only person who should be mad in the villa about how Melanie was acting during this challenge is Sincere. And Sincere is very upset. So let's get into episode 7. Sincere and Melanie have the first conversation. It's crickets. Sincere is so when you're so mad that you just can't even say anything.
So how are you feeling?
You're just boiling upset. Sorry, I need my face is so oily right now. Sincere is so upset. It ain't nothing funny to AKA Genuine right now. Genuine is boiling upset. He's like, I feel embarrassed. I feel disrespected. and he isn't even making eye contact with Melanie. Melanie's putting on that sad face like, I didn't know it was Corbin. I couldn't see. I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. I couldn't see. What do you expect me to do? I couldn't see. Homegirl's still lying, and she lies for the whole next day, right? So what I did love about like everything going on is that while this is going on, Bryce and Trinity are cackling about everything that's going on in the bed together. Like, Bryce is like telling Trinity all the tea. Trinity's like, my gosh, really? It's so cute. Obsessed with them. Like, that right there made me not only believe in them, but now root for them. Because not y'all keep keying about all the best, because that's what I do with my boyfriend. Like, so that's the type of timing that Bryce and Trinity are on. Just peace, love, and happiness. As it should be. It is week 1 in the villa. Like, what's going on? Now, Aniya and Casey, they have 2 conversations. First conversation was like the night before that we see. And, well, really, yeah, just those 2. So they go on like the dock. And Aniya's like in tears. I think that she does end up crying, and she's just kind of like, hey, like, you laughing like that and pretending like that really hurts my feelings. And Casey is very, to me, assuring and is letting her know that like, hey, like, I am attracted to Soul, but I'm not going to just drop you and leave for her. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, hey, I'm attracted to Soul, but I still care about you. And I feel like that's very reasonable. And it's very also hard to do when you see somebody that's like upset, because people are dragging this situation and making it out bigger when it is like very delicate. Because if you see somebody in tears in front of you, are you going to then give them something to cry about and be like, oh, and Soul looks like my girlfriend? I would keep that to myself. I wouldn't tell her that in this moment. I wouldn't tell Aniya that in this moment. Like, I think that Casey saying I'm attracted to her is enough information. I don't think Aniya needed to know, and she looks like my ex. I feel like that's dragging it, honestly, in the state that she's in, right? And he's there to comfort her. He pulls her on his lap, like they're like cuddling, you know what I mean? Aniya doesn't feel like that was assuring enough, but I do feel like, how much more is he supposed to give you in this moment? I do feel like her feelings are valid. People are also dragging Aniya, being like, yo, stand up. You can't be crying. Like, no, she's allowed to have her feelings hurt. Like, people are allowed to be emotional. People weren't doing that to Melanie. So why is it when it's like a fully unambiguously black girl, is she not allowed to show her feelings? I feel like that's trash. Like, no, like, we're not making fun of other girls in the villa that are crying. Nobody called out Kenzie for crying over somebody that she knew one day. Nobody said you need to stop crying. Nobody said that to her. They were like, we feel so bad for you, but we can't feel bad for Aniya, who actually has a developed connection. Yeah, it's been a couple of days, but it's a fully developed connection. So I don't see why we're clowning Aniya for like actually like showing emotion and having feelings. Like, sorry, not everybody's like a bad bitch like Kada and can't, like, it doesn't care and doesn't have any feelings, and you know what I mean? Like, not everybody expresses themselves the same way, and Aniya should be allowed to be soft. Like, black girls should be allowed to be soft. Sorry, dark skin, curly hair crier over here. Like, might as well put me in the villa like as Aniya, because that I would be the same way in this situation. I would be too. Now, their next conversation, Aniya did say some things that I don't fully agree with. She was like, I never give you anything to worry about. I always reassure you, and you don't reassure me the same way. Because Casey has been very assuring. Casey has told her that she's beautiful, has told her that he's interested in her, and I don't think she's given him the same validation as being physically attractive to her. I don't. We don't have anything, like, we as a public haven't seen her do that. Maybe she has and we don't get that side of the edit, but I haven't heard her say, I find Casey attractive, I'm attracted to Casey. All we do see is her react to him being attracted to somebody else. And I do feel like that does matter in a way, because she is showing like, hey, I don't want to lose you. And she's showing emotion in that way. And I do feel like that does hold weight, but it doesn't hold weight as much as you just saying fully out loud without being prompted, I'm attracted to you. We haven't heard her do that or say that. Anyways, regardless, Casey does validate her. In fact, he kisses her in front of everybody in the villa. He groping on her booty cheeks, everybody cheering in the villa. So he's saying, you know what? I don't want to lose you. I'm not even going to go for Soul. Really, like in this conversation, like you see that's what's happening. right? He's not saying, hey, we're closed off. He's just saying, in this situation, I want you to know that like you're protected and your feelings are protected, and I'm not going to take you for granted. Like, he gives her that validation, right? I do think that if Aniya got her first pick in the villa and got to be with either Sean or Sincere, this would be a different situation. However, feelings are developed now. And speaking of Sincere with Aniya, he has a conversation venting to her about Melanie, and she's venting to him about KC, and he gives her some information. He tells her that Soul looks like Casey's ex, and Casey said that to the boys. He didn't have to give her that information. He even has a cute nickname for her. Like, we see like a real friendship dynamic developing, and I wouldn't be shocked if this is a slow burn and they end up being like a friends to lover situation. I wouldn't be shocked by that. Not to discount their relationships or their connections with Melanie and Casey, but they have just as good conversations, if not more impactful ones. They're truly there for each other. At least Aniya is attracted to Sincere. She was behind his door day one. Who knows, right? Melanie is messing up and she continues to lie, and I feel like that's like the biggest part of this entire problem, is that like she can't admit that she's wrong fully. Like, she's still trying to make excuses for herself. Like, she's saying like I messed up, and in the same breath she'll be like, but I couldn't see. But like, let him go and try to find me in the dark. Like, what did I do wrong? So it's very messy when like you continue to dig a hole and you have two bombshells that are like ready to take your man right up there. And again, including the two bombshells, I did forget to mention that Sincere had another analogy for us, talking about them as Christmas presents. I wouldn't be shocked if like by the end of the season there's like a huge compilation of like all of Sincere's analogies that he's given us, from the fishes to there only being one Sincere comment. Like, he's doing a lot right now, right? Moving on to Kenzie. Kenzie gets the ick from Corbin, and I'm not shocked that she did get the ick. I'm shocked it took this long. There was like a bit of a moment in time where she was actually happy in her couple, but then I think that as soon as her cowboy came in and he wasn't trying with the bombshell, she was like, ooh, but I want to leave. And I love that for her, and she needs to go, because I want Corbin out of my villa. His corny behind that has no good chat, has no good chemistry with anybody, like beyond just the physical. Like, he needs to get out of my villa. Like, he's so corny to me. Another person who needs to be out of my villa, Gabriel. Mr. Maluma needs to be gone. Like, he's just doing too much. He constantly is like making himself like a caricature of like what like a Latino is, and he's trying to be like, I'm the spicy Latina of the villa, and it's just like, well, what are you gonna do if like another Latino man shows up? Then like, you can't really do that anymore. Like, I feel like Gabriel is too much horny, not enough substance, because he doesn't even know Soul. He doesn't even have like a real conversation with Soul before he just starts macking on her. And then, in all honesty, same thing with the blonde. So I really am tired of Gabriel. We are seeing a little bit more of his character. You know, he getting his own one-on-one. I forget what that's called, but like, you know, like where they have like their talk to camera scenes. Like, he finally got one this episode. Again, he's been in the villa for a week, and this is the first time we're hearing Gabriel talk to us as the viewers. Anyways, he probably gonna get paired with Jen. I do feel bad for Beatrice. I feel like Beatrice is not taking seriously enough the fact that like Gabriel is really here for the streets and like isn't loyal to anybody. Because I don't want my sis to go home, but Gabriel, I feel like, is literally going to go for any bombshell that comes in. So they do both talk to the bombshells. Like, she has a conversation with Caleb. It doesn't feel any more than just like a friendship combo to me though. So I am worried for Beatrice, because I don't want her to leave the villa, and I don't want Corbin and Gabriel to go. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. So let's get into Soul. Has her conversation with Gabriel, and she hates the kiss. Like, she's like, I can taste people's pheromones, and that didn't feel right to me. She was like, the kiss didn't feel right. Like,
Gabe, he's obviously handsome, but I can like taste people's pheromones when I'm like kissing them. So it's like, sometimes it kind of just like turns me off if like my body's just like, that was not it, girl.
and I really do feel like that was like her intuition, like tasting the lies in his mouth. And she was like, you know what? I got to get out of here. Now, her is Sincere great chemistry, actual good conversation that developed. She was able to open up about like her family life. Same thing with him. They talked about hair. They talked about upbringing, and then they kissed twice. And I loved it. Again, I hate Melanie making me root for a man getting his lick back, because it's not like I want Melanie to leave either, but I do want Sincere to get away from that girl, because she is like letting her like inner saboteur get in the way of just like peace and tranquility in her life, and I can't deal with this. So then it's nighttime and Soul pulls Sincere away for another chat. This chat isn't as substantive, but I'm okay with that because they did have a chat in the day that was. But they have a kiss that's so high and heavy that she just had to like literally like sit up on it and start macking him. Now, I love what the camera editors did here, especially like in the first look, because I saw the first look and I was scared for Sincere and Soul, because I thought that like Melanie was really gonna catch them kissing, but it's like with perfect intuition, she gets off him at the same time that Melanie opens the door. She's like, perfect timing, hops right off. Melanie grabs Sincere and they have a heavy heart conversation with Sincere, starts to get into his light skin tendencies and is lying. Just lying. Like Sincere is very much being insincere in this conversation. Like, Melanie, if you're chronically online like me and Melanie is being called med school and you understand that nickname and joke, you're my people. But like, I'm trying not to say med school, but in this conversation I'm gonna just keep calling them Genuine and med school. Anyways, I feel like I've said their own names enough. So Genuine and med school are having a conversation. It's not going to go well for med school, because med school in real time is seeing this man actually leave her. Like, because the thing is that like the very thing that she was afraid of is happening. She was like, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm going to lie to you, I'm going to play in your face so that you don't do that to me, or so that like I can do that to you before you do that to me. But it's like everything that like she was afraid of him doing to her, he's now gonna do, because it's like you don't have a leg to stand on. Because with Melanie jumping up and down for the bombshell, even though I do see how that was more so for Kenzie. However, I am a bit confused because she did start jumping up and down before Caleb even came into view. So I have mixed feelings about her jumping up and down. I'm not confused about how Sincere should feel about that. I had a great time watching, but if I was Sincere, I'd be upset by it, by the ping-ponging back and forth during the challenge. Yes, it was a challenge, but the ping-ponging was a bit much, and I would be upset if I was Sincere. So with her acting the way how she did in the challenge, and then there now being two bombshells available, and Soul being another light skin in the villa, you already know that like if anybody's gonna go for Melanie, they're also gonna go for Soul if that's like their type, right? So Soul being in the villa, Melanie is still lying after the challenge. Sincere has all rights to flourish and mingle and talk to and grab for a chat Soul, and he does. And guess what, they actually do have a great connection. And I do find it funny that everybody in the villa but Aniya was like I don't think Melanie and Sincere really go together like that. She's like, really? I really think they do. Everybody's like, no. Especially Beatrice. I loved Beatrice's commentary where like Aniya was like, I feel like they actually do go together. She was like, well, do they go together or were they just together from the beginning? And then Aniya goes like, well, I feel like they just need to work on their communication. She's like, no, Melanie needs to work on her communication. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, that's basically like my little recap and thoughts on what's gonna happen. I did vote for Soul to be with Sincere, Gabrielle to be with Jen, and then Kenzie to be with Caleb. I want corny Corbin out of my villa immediately. I need Melanie to stay because she's one of the girls that are giving us great TV. It's her, Soul, and Kata. Like, I'm obsessed with all of them. I do feel like the villa is turning to a little bit of like an LBA meeting, like a Light Bright Alliance meeting. There's a lot of people from the Zendaya coalition in attendance right here. But hey, everybody has great personalities. Everybody's giving me great TV. I'm not mad at it. I do wish that somebody who is interested in Casey and Aniya could come into the villa unambiguously interested in Casey and Aniya. I want to see if Casey and Aniya are going to stay together for that. And that's what Casa Amore's for. So I just want Casey and Aniya to stay till Casa Amore. I feel like the strongest couple is Trinity and Bryce, because they actually do seem to have the best communication in the villa, and they're not so gung-ho on people still talking to other people, having to be week one in the villa. I still think that Kata and Zach have a great connection. Just a bit of communication issues, but it's not too much. Like, Kata is able to say she's wrong when she's wrong. Zach is able to say I'm hurt when he's hurt. You're not seeing the same, like, muffled communication issues happening with Kata and Zach that you're seeing happening with Sincere and Med School. You're not seeing those same things happen because they have the same level of attraction in these couples, but what this couple is missing is actually being able to talk to each other, and this couple actually knows how to talk to each other. I think that what we're all learning about Love Island is that, like, looks do matter for you to get on the show, but once you get on the show, do you have good communication? Can you chat well? Because your personality is going to be what keeps you on the show. Like, regardless, like, you're in a couple or not, or, like, people find you attractive or not, people, like, the viewers fall in love with you on screen as to who you are, right? Because I feel like the person that is the best example of this is Corbin. Everybody was obsessed with Corbin before he got on the show and opened his mouth. Because as soon as we realized how corny Corbin is, nobody cared how fine he was. Everybody wants him off the show now. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I had to say. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this commentary. If you guys prefer Sunday or Thursdays. I was, like, really concerning myself with if this was actually going to go well for me, like, recapping Love Island. But I'm just going to keep on going, see which new people I can bring into my royal village and what happens. Because obviously me seeing how many views my last video got, I'm really just doing this for myself. So I shouldn't be putting too much pressure on myself of, like, how great these videos come out. Because at this point, if I'm still going, I'm obviously just doing this for me. But if you're interested in what I have to say, obviously, please do give me a like, give me a hype, and drop this emoji so that I can know that you stayed to the end. See you later, Royal Village. Bye-bye.